I was born in Vienna, 1912. My parents came from Moravia. And after the First War, they moved to Czechoslovakia, which was made as an independent democratic state. And I lived in Czechoslovakia since 1919. During my study, I heard about Hitler, that he was a very dangerous man. And therefore, I decided to be a Czech officer, to be a Czechoslovak officer, and to defend our country against the German aggression, if necessary. I came to Bratislava as a young lieutenant. It was in 1937, and I was sent to Petržalka. You know Petržalka? It's a small village on the other side of the Danube. And I was serving there till 1938. It is today 70 years ago when I had to defend Petržalka against Germany. So I was, how to say that? Hitler occupied Austria in March 1938, just 70 years ago. And in September, a Munich agreement was made, just as 70 years ago. Do you know what was Munich agreement? Well, that was an agreement made by British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, French Prime Minister Daladier, Italian Prime Minister Mussolini, and of course German Prime Minister Hitler. They all decided that Czechoslovakia must leave the fortresses made around the country and give it to Germany. Later, November, Vienna agreement was made, where it was decided that Slovakia had to leave 1/3 of its south part to Hungary. So Czechoslovakia was practically didn't exist. So I, as a young officer, with my friends, have decided we couldn't fight at home against Germany. We were not allowed to do so. So we decided we will leave Czechoslovakia, go abroad, enter the Czechoslovak army built in France, and there, as an ally of French and Great Britain, fight for our liberation. So I left Bratislava through Budapest, Yugoslavia, Greece, to Beirut, and from Beirut by through Mediterranean to the south of France, to a place called Agde. It's a very small place on the south coast of France, where the Czechoslovak unit was situated. But France collapsed very soon, in 1940. So after the collapse of France, I was a company commander in France, so I retreated with my company to Great Britain. We left south coast of France. We passed Spain, Peninsula, through Gibraltar, we came to England. Well, we were tired, exhausted, and from Liverpool, we marched,
Yes.
we marched to the railway station.
Ah, from the port to the railway station.
Yeah. And we were very tired, but we didn't feel very happy, because we thought, we knew that there was a British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain, who signed the treaty, who signed the Munich Treaty, so we were not very happy. But as we were marching from the place to the railway station, the British people in the streets greeted us as a hero. They waved to us, they welcomed us. And when we came to railway station, we took a train to Chomley Park. Chomley Park in England
Chester.
is a park close to Chester. He
That's
landed us a castle, we were stationed in the castle, and there were about 1,000 tents around the castle, where our brigade, we were about 4,000 men who managed to go from France to England, so we lived there. And the British people, they all very often came to the gate, and they invited us for a nice British cup of tea every day. Well, when I came to England, to Chomley, I was made a platoon commander of anti-tank guns. But soon after, during the winter for 1940 and 41, I reported to the parachute training. Great Britain has started to train the parachutists. Because, well, it looks so that when we came to England, it was sure that we will not come very soon back to France, because Germany was very strong, and England declared the war to the Germany, having no arms at all. She had the army similar like we are building now. So 500 volunteers reported to the parachute.
The parachutes.
And the main center for training the parachutists was concentrated in Scotland, on the west part of Scotland. You remember Fort William? Fort William If you go from Fort William by train to Malek, there are several farms there. About 10 of them, they were taken by the British for training the parachutists. I passed the training in Scotland in July 1942. I passed it, according to report, I passed it very well, not only in English, not only physically, but also in technical English. So the commanding officer of the SOE in Scotland, he was stationed in Atherstone area, asked our authority to leave me in Scotland as an instructor of the next Czechoslovak group coming to Scotland. So I was in Scotland for a year, and I have trained 120, 160 people for the work, for the fight behind the enemy line. Well, when I finished the training, I returned back to Czechoslovak Brigade. By that time, it was in September, in autumn 1943, the brigade was prepared for invasion. And the invasion started in next year, 8th of May, am I right? But do you know when the invasion of Normandy started? So I went as a company commander into invasion. I had a company with 2 platoons of heavy machine gun, each platoon 4 machine guns, that means 8 machine guns, and 2 platoons of anti-tank guns. So that I was commanding these arms. We landed in, it was a special, I don't know, just a minute. I want to give you a correct answer. Yes, we were disembarked at Arromanch. There was an artificial harbor there called Mulberry. Mulberry, it was a special dam. Leading from the land into the sea, made of different pontoons, which were specially constructed. So we landed in France. We assembled in Arromanch area, took the way through Caen to oh, it's difficult to remember these places. Falaise, I think. Well, then in Falaise, we were assembled for a few days, and we received the order to encircle the German, 12,000 Germans situated in Dunkerque.
And then from there, what happened?
Well,
This is
then
very interesting.
in Falaise, we were assembled for a few days, and we received the order to encircle the German, 12,000 Germans situated in Dunkerque. my,
already there.
my platoon was a part of the motor battalion, and the motor battalion defended the place on the eastern side of Dunkirk, on the frontier between Belgium and France. Okay?
Okay.
Well, during that time, I also attacked the point. And I decided, with 20 volunteers, to destroy this point. And I succeeded. I destroyed it, and I brought 14 German back without loss. So we received a very nice decoration. I received Czechoslovak military cross and a cross from Montgomery.
Cross from Montgomery. Now, Montgomery was part of the British.
This is the Montgomery that I think.
Okay. Can I read this to them? It says, there's a letter here from Montgomery. It says, this officer was in charge of a raid on enemy position of Dunkirk on the 29th of October 1944. A result of his skillful leadership and courageous determination, the enemy's defence system had become completely destroyed. So because General Petrák was very clever and he did what he was supposed to do, then his company didn't lose any soldiers. Now you remember yesterday that I told you what happened to the farmhouse. Said, come out or we'll explode it, we'll destroy it. So they were very, very lucky. So do you think this is a very valuable piece, very valuable letter?
Yeah.
Do you think every soldier was to get one of these? No. So it was a very, very special letter, and I'm sure that's a copy of it. I'm sure that's a very nice thing to keep. Yeah.
Then I also made patrolling along the coast.
Patrolling.
We penetrated 2 kilometers behind the enemy line and brought very important news for the army. Well, at the end of the war, we have returned back to Czechoslovakia. We left
And World War II
the end of the war.
Mina?
1945.
1945. Who remembers which day it finished? Yeah? No? Anybody remember? Kayla?
It was in June. October.
It wasn't June, or it wasn't October. We have a holiday here, actually.
It was
September.
Wasn't it?
It's 11th November.
Well, that was the First World War. It was actually the 8th of May. That was when peace was declared. Who can remember what that special day was called? 2 letters. VE Day. What does VE Day stand for?
Victory of Europe.
Victory in Europe. And there was another day with 2 letters. VJ Day. What does that stand for?
Victory of Japan.
Victory in Japan. So VE Day. And VE Day, then war finished and everybody went back to their countries.
the
So
war finished in Europe. We left the Dunkirk to the France, and Czechoslovak brigade returned through Germany to Czechoslovakia. And we arrived to Pilsen, to the western part of Czechoslovakia. Pilsen, of course.
and then you got back home.
Well, we were very happy to be at home, but not very long, because the communists came to power, and they immediately made all volunteers from the Western Front as a class enemy. We were called criminal element in the service of capitalism.
Criminal elements in the service of capitalism.
And our friends, British friends, were called class enemy of the country of war. So I, shortly when communists came to power, I was interrogated by the state police and I was sentenced to 5 months of prison. And after these 5 months, immediately I was sent to the concentration camp Mirov. Sentenced for 2 years. As a man who, as a class enemy. And I came home in 1951. But I didn't stay. I only had to do the manual work. My wife, she had a nice flat in Prague, had to move in a very in a village on the frontier without water, without without necessary things for young children. And in 1957, I was arrested again. And I was sentenced for 5 years prison. But in 1960, I was amnesty. I received 10 years amnesty. But I only had to do the manual work. I never was an officer in the uniform. Since 1945, when I came home, I was just a man doing the manual work. Until communists came to Vista. I was made a general, but again, this is a very punishment. But I'm very happy to be alive.
Good. Right, so who's got question number 1? So, Mina.
How did you feel when you were first sent overseas? Could you describe your feelings?
How did you feel when you went overseas, when you went out of Bratislava,
Well,
down to Budapest?
how did I feel? I was decided to do everything to make my country free.
Where did you go? How did you get there?
Well, I came to Bratislava I came to Bratislava March 1940. March 1940. And I left, there was, some people helped me. They gave me their identity card, and I passed it as a local inhabitant. I came from Brno, from Moravia to Bratislava. A friend helped me on the frontier. And from here, I had to go on a passport. But there were people in Slovakia against the communists, and they have helped the people going abroad. So we were in touch. They managed to get a pass through to Hungary, to Budapest. And at the French embassy, I received a ticket from Budapest to Belgrade. And when I came to Belgrade, I was in an Allied camp. There was a group organized and sent to foreign region in French embassy in Belgrade has sent us in a group as a volunteer for the foreign relation.
Okay.
But when we passed Yugoslavian French, and we came to Syria. Syria was a French territory, so we were just like taken as the Allied officers.
No problem. Okay then.
How many soldiers did you train?
Well, it was different. When I came to France, I was made a company commander. That was about 150 people. But when we came to England, we were 12,000 people, volunteers in France, but only 4,000 came to England, and I was made a platoon commander. Do you understand what it is?
Platoon
it is a small
commander.
unit,
Right.
platoon commander.
Group of
And later on, when I went to invasion, I was again the company commander, and I had 160 men under my command.
What did you do when your friends died in the war?
Well, I was sorry to lose a good friend, but I knew that also may happen to me, that one day I also may die on the front. So I had to count with it, that something similar may happen to me
yes,
too.
yes. Not number 8. Come on then, big loud voice.
Were you proud when you caught the Germans in the farmhouse?
Well, when I caught the German, I was proud that I. Can I put my coat on?
Of course you can. Do you want some more tea?
How many medals have you been given? Where are they from?
Well, I have several medals. Well,
Okay, oh, now, medal for bravery and medal for merit. A war medal with a plate F for France and one for Great Britain. Because, do you know something, children? I was actually here in Bratislava, and I turned the TV on because it was the 60th anniversary of World War II ending. And I turned the TV on and put the Euro News on, and there's a big presentation coming from France. And I sat and watched it, and the next person I saw on the TV was AntonPetrák, receiving his medal from President Chirac. So that was very, very interesting. And he's got a 50th anniversary from the Russian Patriotic War and another one from Poland. Okay. So,
Pourquoi vous êtes allé en France? Pourquoi êtes-vous allé en France?
pourquoi? Pour libérer ma patrie. Ma patrie est occupée par les Allemands. Je voulais libérer ma patrie.
Ça veut dire que vous voulez libérer votre... Ça veut dire que vous voulez libérer votre village, la Tchécoslovaquie?
Oh, c'est que
slowly, slowly.
Parlez lentement, s'il vous plaît.
C'est parce que vous voulez que la Tchécoslovaquie soit libérée des Allemands?
Ah, sorry. You can ask me. Dimmer.
Wie haben Sie sich gefühlt, als Sie...
I forgot my German.
Did you get to see your parents after the war?
Of course, yeah. When I came to, when we came to prison, and Czechoslovakia became again an independent state, so I wrote 2 letters. One to my parents in Brno, and one to my wife in Bratislava. And I found my sister in Prague, she told me they are all right. they were kept since Heydrich affair, they were kept imprisoned as parents of a man who escaped from.
How did you feel in the concentration camps in which you have been?
Oh dear, not very happy.
Not very happy.
Not very, because I had no money for my wife and for my daughter. They were kept by their parents. My parents, the parents of my wife look after
Them,
them.
yes. Josephine.
What age were you when you were in the war?
Well, how I was born in 1912 and I left Bratislava at the beginning of 1940. So I was 28 years old.
But I think we need to say thank you very much to General Petrák.
You understood me? Did you understand me?
Yes.
Not very much.
You're good at English.
What are you?
As you were saying that your daughter,
She'd go with your wife. Yes, she would.
She's my daughter. She's in pension. She's 60 years. And my grandfather is 30. She's in England. No, in Switzerland.
For your stories, for telling us.
You understood them? You understood? Are they English? No.
No, she's from Korea. Korea.
Korea.
Other side of the world.
South
It's my
Korea.
best wishes to Korea. I would like to go to Korea, but I